Good afternoon and welcome to Arrowfield's inaugural live yearling presentation. We're very fortunate to have some nice weather this afternoon. Last couple of days have been rather inclement, but we welcome viewers from all over Australia and of course from overseas. This concept behind doing this live parade is to facilitate some industry participants and people with interest who can't get to Arrowfield to have a look at our yearlings. We thought that we'd put on this live coverage so you can maybe see the yearlings and get involved and see the live atmosphere here. My name's Matt Hill. I'm the manager at Arrowfield Stud, and this afternoon I'm joined by my esteemed colleague John Freya, bloodstock manager and all-round good guy. He'll be comparing with me as we guide you through the draft of 62 yearlings, which we'll be showing you this afternoon. Just to give you a little bit of an overview of how things will proceed, we will start off by, we'll commence by showing you the fillies, and after that there'll be a little break before we go on to the colts. That'll give you time, if you're at home, to go and make yourself a cup of tea, put the kettle on, or if you're overseas and the time zone permits, you can go and make yourself a cocktail. I shall be introducing the lots, and John will be providing his learned insight, some interesting points and perhaps some facts that are not on your pedigree pages, just give you a little bit of background on the horses. The parade will last just under 2 hours, just under 2 hours, which in cricket terms is about 20 overs. And sticking with that theme, we shall start by introducing the opening batter for the ladies' team, lot number 16, a Maurice filly out of the mare Adamina. Here she comes now, John. Plenty happening on the page of this filly.
She's a lovely filly, Matt. She's the first foal of a very precocious mare, filly that we raced. Adamina, Gerald Ryan trained her. She was a close second in the Widden Stakes at her very first start, defeated by a smart filly called Fiesta, who's gone on to bigger and better things. And of course, Morris has started particularly well in Japan with 30 first crop winners and a number of very promising horses here in Australia.
And Anadan, of course, she's got a bit of an update with Oriental Princess as well, hasn't she?
Oriental Princess out of Anadan is a smart winner this season in Queensland. And in fact, Anadan's had a number of runners that have made it to the early races, the Breeders' Plate and the Jim Crack Stakes. So it's quite a precocious family, and this is quite a racy filly.
So that was lot 16, the Maurice filly out of Adamina. Our next filly on parade is lot 868. Not a single doubt filly, very aptly named. John, one of your favourite dances, the tango. I understand that you enjoy a tango when the opportunity presents.
This is another very smart filly, typical of the Not a Single Doubts, we think. She's certainly in that mould. Tango's done a good job. Dance, of course, was a winner at Warwick Farm only last week. And Giselle Ann is a very fast filly. She was a close-up fourth in the Widden Stakes herself, beaten less than a length. So this is a wonderful European family, infused obviously with that very good Australian speed. Not a single doubt, Redute's choice.
Of course, she's bred on the same cross as Stronger, of course, which
it's been a successful cross indeed. Not a single doubt over Starcraft mare, Stronger, and also Instant Celebrity, who's a top-class filly this year. So Starcraft started well as a broodmare sire, and two of his very best are by Not a Single Doubt.
Our next filly on show this afternoon is lot 1163, Real Impact filly out of Aspen Summit. Here she comes now. Again, this is a very active family, John. There's plenty going on here.
An active family, Matt. You know, it's a family that you'd expect a filly like this to be more of a classic filly. We're blessed with the presence of the great Guy Mulcaster today, who purchased Oh My Sword out of this family from the sales, and This filly's already produced a horse called Solar Apex, who runs tomorrow at Randwick. He's only had 3 starts for 3 placings in the city, so he's a promising horse. He's by Deep Impact. And this is another nice filly, classic type of filly from a classic family.
She certainly has that look about her as well, John. She does have that sort of classic look about her, good size frame, plenty of scope.
So this is about our 3rd or 4th parade all up, Matt. So a lot of the yearlings are still a fraction new to it. There's people are still arriving here on the grounds, and the horses are getting a little bit used to that. But of course, by the time we get to Queensland, they'll be very settled.
Next filly we have to present this afternoon is lot 1136, Shalar filly out of the mare Watch Me.
Well, Shalar we're delighted with, obviously. He's already produced the Breeders' Plate winner Shakira, who trialled so brilliantly yesterday and looks right on song for the Magic Millions. This is out of a smart mare. She's thrown a good filly called Kinga's Eye, who was second in the Gym Crack. And there's a horse down the bottom of the page called Nakoni Express. He's with the McAvoy stable in Adelaide. He's second at Morfordville when he was an odds-on favourite. McAvoy's have got a good opinion of the horse. Looks like he'll be a very useful horse in the fullness of time. So she's done a good job, this mare, and this is a nice filly, great nostril, good walk about her. She's in the second session, so she presents great value, I would suggest.
She certainly looks like she could get up and do something quite early. She's got that sort of sharpness about her. Shalar's been very popular again this year, John. He seems to be a horse that they are very keen to support.
Breeders have loved him, and of course he's covered this year the biggest book that he's had, and he's got some wonderful mares in foal and a very good bunch coming forward.
The next filly we've got to show you, very current. Don't really get more current than this. This is lot 503, a Snitzel out of Madame Andree.
Well, Madame Andree was a filly that Paul Massara trained, and she was blindingly fast, but never made it to the races. Went wrong after a barrier trial at Rose Hill. Craig Williams rode her and was super impressed. So we've made it a strongly, and of course she's rewarded us with the likes of Anders and Battleground. Anders, of course, we sold at the sales at the Magic Millions for, I think, $675,000, and he's been syndicated for $14 million. A faster horse we probably haven't seen for a number of years. So this is a lovely filly. She's in that mould. Great moving filly, plenty of length about her. She looks precocious, but you know she wouldn't be limited to as a 2-year-old. I wouldn't have thought.
Great hip on her, John. She really pushes herself. Along. Yeah.
Wonderful temperament too. Just walks around easily and
a lot of quality there.
Kieran Maher was here a couple of months ago and went round in the paddock and just looking at a few of the yearlings, and he was very taken with her.
It's always a good sign when they catch the eye.
She was one that caught his eye before he knew who she was.
Our next filly on parade is lot 405, 405, a Shalar filly out of the mare Intibar.
Well, this is a magnificent family. We were fortunate to be able to purchase this mare in the UK and repatriate it to Australia. A magnificent family full of great fillies. There's a number of Group 1.
We've got a Blue Diamond winner in there somewhere, and
Blue Diamond winner and two Oaks winners.
Yeah.
She's a lovely filly. Anyone looking for a dual purpose filly, this is probably her. Shalar, of course, we've spoken about, and Street Cry mares are doing particularly well.
She's going to have plenty of residual when she comes to the end of her career as well, of course.
No weak link whatsoever on this page. It's an interesting thing with the Shalars. They've all got great temperaments. They're all kind of relaxed horses. Stamps them so well.
Very much a type, aren't they?
Very much.
Very much a type. So that was the Shalar out of Intibar. Our next filly on the parade this afternoon is lot number 593, a Not a Single Doubt filly out of the mare Networking.
Well, there was a very good filly by Morris out of this mare last year that we featured on Bred to Win, preview to the Magic Millions, and that's a filly called Invisible Tears. She doesn't show on the page, but she ran. She's had a run in Brisbane, and she was a close second, only over 1,000 metres at the Sunshine Coast. So one would expect that she's going to be a very nice filly later in the season. And this is another very good representative of the mare. She's an invincible spirit half sister to the mighty Pakistan Star, who's somewhat enigmatic but incredibly talented
on his day. On his day,
remarkable,
nearly unbeatable on his day.
So this is a filly marked like a lot of the Not a Single Doubts. Got that similar easy walk about her. Strolls around. See, she's got her ears pricked there, looking at the crowd, but.
And it's quite a common trait of these Not a Single Doubts. He's got that substance and something to work with.
Absolutely.
So that was networking filly. Our next filly to be paraded this afternoon is lot 1010. That's 1010. A scissor kick filly out of the mare Moonlight Hussey. Moonlight Hussey, of course, a fantastic family. Just keeps on giving, doesn't it?
This is a family that we've had a lot of and introduced originally to Australia. This mare's done a good job. She's got, of course, a filly called True Moonlight, a winner.
That's right. Yeah.
Julian Heinrich this season. She was in the stakes race last week and didn't have the best of luck in the run, but the mare's been a great producer, and as you say, this is a tremendous family. Got Colorado, Claire, Selenia, Moon over Manhattan, who we sold at the sales. So
it's unusual when you get a family of this depth to have so many strong branches, but it just seems to just keep doing the job, really, doesn't it?
You're right. There isn't a weak branch of this family. It's been particularly good all the way through.
Of course, Gunnison himself has been a very consistent horse and a good money spinner for all involved with him.
Well, we sold Gunnison at the sales for I think 800,000 to James Harron, and he won the Todman Slipper, and they sold him to Hong Kong because they'd gelded him prior to that, and I think he was sold at auction for 1.4 million. So.
Wow.
It was a good result for them.
Thank you.
That was Moonlight Hussey. Our next filly to be paraded is lot number 793, a Shalar filly out of the mare Schwemser. This is quite an international page, and a very good first foal from the mare.
Yeah, she's quite an elegant filly, this. First foal of her mother. She's a Canford Cliffs mare from a speedy European family. Again, typical of the Shalars. She moves quite gracefully, and a nice filly all round.
Nigel Bentley, our Yearling manager, commented to me that these Shalars, they seem to all thrive in a prep. They don't seem to be fazed by a bit of hard work and always get their heads back in the feed mangers at the end of the day, which is always a good trait for any racehorse.
Well, what we're noticing with all of the yearlings is that we're probably only halfway through the preparation leading into the sales, and how rapidly they're improving day by day, coats and condition. There's Andy Williams coming to the rescue. Just giving her a little bit of a hurry along there, enjoying the sunshine.
There we go, she's on a roll now. That was lot 793. Our next filly this afternoon is lot 36, a Lord Kanaloa out of the mare Almandine. Lord Kanaloa, of course, very much a sire of the moment. He's going through a little bit of a purple patch at the moment, isn't he, John?
Well, his career's been a purple patch, Matt, but you're right. Of course, the Japan Cup winner, Arm & I, and more recently, Dan on Premium at the Hong Kong meeting, won the international sprint race, a race that Lord Kanaloa himself won twice. So this is a good filly. She's out of a three-quarter sister to two champions, one of the top families in Japan, and we've been very fortunate to be able to breed some mares to Lord Kanaloa Southern Time. And amongst those, we've produced Tagaloa, a horse that we sold at the Magic Millions and is now scheduled to go to stud at Yearling Farm in Victoria.
And again, John, like many of the fillies that we'll be seeing this afternoon, a great residual at the end of her career, being the Mr. Prospector line as well, which has always been such a good producing line and is not quite as prevalent as it has been in the past. But you know, it's a lovely pedigree she has, and she'll certainly make somebody a very nice broodmare after she's finished her racing career.
Absolutely, and a filly like that's very easy to mate in Australia because she's free of Danehill blood. And interestingly, also quite closely inbred to the Great King Mambo.
Our next filly is lot 740, a Snitzel filly out of the mare Sananda. Anabar mares seem to be getting the job done as well, don't they, John?
They are, and we've got Chris Waller here today. He, of course, trains for Tess. She's won her last start at Randwick, and I noticed she's in again on this Saturday at Randwick in a race that looks very suitable for her. So she's a winner of nearly 300,000 now. This is a filly very much in that Vitesse mould. She's a stylish, she's got quite a lot of Anabar about her.
She has actually, hasn't she? She has got that strength
and colour and that about her. But she's again a typical nice moving Snitzel, and it's a top class Aga Khan family. We've ventured with the Aga Khan on a number of brood mares, and amongst the horses that we've produced is the Autumn Sun, who we're fortunate to be standing now here at Arrowfield.
Again, these bloodlines from His Highness the Aga Khan's families, it's a lifetime of work to build these bloodlines and develop them and bring them on. So we're very fortunate to have them.
The Aga Khan, and of course his grandfather before him had been magnificent breeders of racehorses.
Absolutely.
Horses like Nasrullah and Blushing Groom, amongst a host of others.
Our next filly this afternoon is lot 224. She's a Pariah filly out of the mare Desert Flower.
Well, this is the first of the Pariahs that we're showing you today, and we're delighted with them. They're big, strong horses. This was a filly that we paraded at the Stallion Parade, which was only a few days old, last year to highlight the quality of the early Pariah foals, and she's gone on with it. She's quite a special filly. There's big, strong, great shoulder and that on her. Her half-sister Wild Rain was blazingly fast filly, and this filly looks similarly a very quick filly.
Yes, I've followed her all the way through her life, and she's quite often horses can go through awkward phases as they develop, but she's always been striking all the way through, really.
Similarly marked to her sire.
Absolutely. I was going to say that we found with the Pariahs that they're very much of a type again. He's really imparting a lot of his attributes and his looks into the stock he's leaving at the moment.
Thank you.
So that was the Desert Flower filly. Our next filly this afternoon is lot 1229. 1,229, a Maurice filly out of the mare Double Deal. Maurice, John, I know he's got off to a very solid start over here, but he's really kicked on in Japan, hasn't he?
Done brilliantly well, Matt. He looks like being the leading 2-year-old sire, not only the leading first season sire, leading 2-year-old sire. So that's quite an accomplishment for him.
Especially in their jurisdiction where, you know, those opportunities to run in 2-year-old races are quite limited in comparison to ours.
That's
and
right.
The competition is just as stiff.
Absolutely. This filly, interestingly, is the first foalet born out of a Dundeel mare, and you can see a lot of Dundeel about it. I think this could be an Oaks filly. This filly, she's got that lovely swagger about her. She walks around, classic type of filly.
Very good first foal. Certainly got that Dundeel head.
Well, her mother was her grandmother, Aliana Till, was a high-class race mare.
That's the family of Teaspoon, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Aliana Till was only narrowly beaten in the Oaks and similarly narrowly beaten in the Sydney Cup. So
Snitzel, green Tiara.
Next filly this afternoon is a Snitzel filly, lot 244, 244. Snitzel had a Dream Tiara. Now she's really caught my eye in the parades, John. She's doing fantastically well in the prep. She's really
she
thriving.
This is a standout filly. A few people have commented how similar she is in type to a Snitzel filly that we sold a few years back called Sweet Idea, who was a Group 1 winner, won a Galaxy amongst another, placed in the Golden Slipper and now owned by Her Majesty the Queen. This is an outstanding filly with a big page, and she's really top-class filly.
I understand the full brothers with Trent Buston and Natalie Young have acquired him. So
He is. So the mare's going to get every opportunity.
every opportunity.
But this filly just exudes quality.
Thank you.
So that was the Snitzel out of the mare Dream Tiara. Our next filly to present this afternoon is lot 1079. That's 1079. First of the Mikki Isles this afternoon out of the mare She's Magical. She's Magical, John, was a very versatile mare, winning over distances ranging from 1200 out to 16.
She was, Matt. She was trained by Greg Hickman. We sold her as a yearling and we bought her back subsequently. Illusionary is a mare that we like a lot. She hasn't had a lot of luck. You'll see a horse there called Invisible, who won his first start brilliantly as a 2-year-old at Canterbury and subsequently went to the Magic Millions and started $5 second favourite or something in it. And unfortunately went wrong in the race. He cracked a splint bone. And I think he would have been a top-class horse had that not happened. Under My Spell is a promising Piero filly. So there's a little bit happening in this page, and I think you might see some black type filly in there, but this is a nice filly. And it's a family that's on the up, I believe.
That was She's Magical. Our next filly this afternoon is lot 371, Maurice filly out of the mare Helena Gull. As you'll start seeing a pattern as you watch these Maurices this afternoon, they are very much of a type. They have that good frame and athleticism about them. As does this filly. She gets along nicely.
Yes, Helena Girl's done a great job. Everything out of her can gallop. The Kingdom is won 5 in a row in Queensland, which is
Tough horse.
hard to win 5 in a row anywhere. And Sparta, of course, is a stakes winner in Macau. Royal Phoenix was a 2-year-old winner at Flemington. So she's done a good job, this mare. And this is similarly a very nice filly out of Helena Girl.
So that was lot 371, Helena Gull. Our next filly this afternoon, I'm sure a lot of you viewing this online will be very interested to see what she looks like, as a close relation in her time just jumps out of the pages as you look at it, is a Pariah filly out of the mare Sultry Dreamer. Again, as with the Maurices, you'll start seeing the pattern emerging with the Pariahs. They're good-bodied, strong types, John.
Very good, Matt. This is a filly that we rate very highly. Interestingly, she's Pariah's out of the family of Zeditive, and her granddam's by Zeditive, so she's inbred to the mighty mare Summoned, who through no less than, I think, 6 stakes winners. So that's an interesting one that a lot of the pedigree buffs like. She's a very strong, very good first foal of the mare.
Isn't she? Yeah.
She's a great moving filly.
Good shoulder.
Taken the eye of a number of good judges. And of course, in her time, was sold at the chairman's sale for $2 million. So that's how this family is regarded commercially.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you.
That was Sultry Dreamer. Our next filly this afternoon is a Snitzel filly, lot 466, 466, a Snitzel filly out of the mare Later Gator. Again, this family is on the cusp of updates, I believe, and the more than ready mares are crossing well, especially with the Reduced Choice line, responsible for such things as miracles of life. But the one thing that I've caught my eye with this filly, John, is that she's got a lovely body, she's a really good mover, and there's shades of Estajob about her. You know, she really gets along nicely.
I agree. She's a very sharp filly. The mare on paper hasn't done that much yet, but the filly called Tacti's, you'll see there by Reduced Choice out of the mare, was purchased by Shadwell, and she only had the one start, was a second as a favourite in Melbourne. And the filly that beat her, Crown Witness, went on to defeat Catchy at the Quezette Stakes Quezette Stakes at her next run. So she might have been very good, Tacti. She went wrong. She's still in the Shadwell Broodmare band. And this filly is, I think, as good a yearling as the mare's had. I agree with you. She is certainly in that Estajob mould. And she looks like she'd be a filly that'll be running very early.
Anyone interested in her could be in front of the curve.
496.
Our next filly this afternoon is a 496, lot 496, a Pariah filly out of the mare, and I have to pronounce this right because I get pulled up by the boss for not pronouncing French. Landy? Pariah Landy. Monday. It's from that great family we were speaking about earlier as well, the Luna Spur family.
That's right, and this is typical of what we've seen of the Pariahs. A lot of depth to them, good front, big hip, strong. This is a filly that she's an early foal. She's 21st of August, you'll see, but she looks quite a precocious filly as well. Pariah was a horse that we bred and sold as a yearling. It was purchased by James Harron, raced in those famous green silks with the gold epaulettes, and we were lucky enough to be able to buy back an interest in him and stand him at stud, so we're delighted about that. One of a number of horses we've sold as yearlings and now stand at Arrowfield.
Costs us a lot more to get them back than when we sell them.
Does indeed.
But there you go. It's the game. So that was Lundy. The next filly this afternoon is Maurice filly, lot 1256, that's 1256, and Maurice filly out of the mare Heavenly Mum. This is the second foal out of this mare. First full sibling is with Bjorn Baker. This filly has always been very straightforward through all her life and really good bodied, and again, as we spoke about earlier, typical of the Maurice, is a really good frame, very athletic.
Good frame, comes from a top class family, good taproot family. It's actually Masque's family when you get back right down below, and she's out of a Sebring mare. She's got that Sebring scope, but she's, as you say, yeah, she's got a lovely frame. That's typical of the Morrises. We're a little bit surprised in some respects. The Morrises have been shown a lot early here. I would have expected them last year to be after Christmas horses, but the trainers have said they've all got natural ability. In fact, he's got a runner today in the Wyong 2-year-old slipper with John Sargent, who he expects to run well, even though it's drawn the outside barrier.
170.
That was Heavenly Mum.
Snitzel, Colorado Clare.
The next filly to be shown is Snitzel filly, lot 176, Snitzel filly out of the mare Colorado Clare. The page really does all the talking here, John.
Oh, it does, Matt. She was a top-class race mare, Colorado Claire, fabulous, and she's done a really good job at stud. Gunnison, as we know, was a Todman Stakes winner, may have won the Golden Slipper had he run, and just a wonderful family. Luna Spur there was a filly that Philip Stokes trained, and it's been a super family. And this is a filly that is gilt-edged in terms of a racing and breeding. The residual value would be enormous.
Massive residual value on a filly like that.
Not a big mare, Colorado Claire, but this is a good sized filly.
It's one of the better size fillies out, foals out of the mare, yearlings out of the mare.
Interestingly, when Gunnison was beat Invader in the Todman Slipper trial, we sold them both as yearlings, and I said to a number of people they were probably the two smallest yearlings we sold all year. So size is not everything.
So that was Colorado Claire. The next filly is 1009, 1009. Olympic Glory filly out of the mare Moon Candy. Herself, Moon Candy is a half sister to a handy horse trained in by Godolphin stable, Dysphania. She's a short coupled strong filly, this, John.
Very much. She's out of a canny lad mare, Matt, and she's very much in that canny lad mould, I'd suggest. Big hip, big jaw and that on her. Quite an attractive and good moving filly. Olympic Glory's done a good job overseas. He's probably his best horse in Australia is Eric the Heel, a horse that we sold in at the Magic
Tourbillon
Millions.
Diamond.
Now called Tourbillon Diamond.
One on the weekend, yeah.
Placed in the AJC Derby and now looking like a rising star in Hong Kong.
This is the sort of filly that I imagine might catch a trainer's eye. A trainer's horse, you can imagine, you know, they wouldn't have too much hesitation to buy a filly like that and put some owners into it, and they'll have a lot of fun, I think.
Well, you see her walking around there. She looks like an athlete, doesn't she? And she looks like she'll take training very easily.
That was the Moon Candy filly. Next filly this afternoon is lot 895, 895. Snitzel out of the mare Time Check. I know I shouldn't have favourites, but this is certainly a filly that holds my attention whenever I see her. There's a lot to like about her as an individual, and as also obviously on the page. Lovely filly, John.
Yes, she is, Matt. I agree with you. She's a lovely filly from a line of top-class fillies. Her grandmother, Elise, was trained by Tony McAvoy, and Tony was here only a couple of days ago lamenting how Elise went wrong after winning the Magic Night by 5 lengths and looked a shoe-in for the Golden Slipper. And of course she's out of La Baraka, who won a Galaxy, and La Baraka out of the great Triscay. I think this filly's got a lot of Triscay about her. She's similarly marked, and you know, I knew Triscay quite well from friendship with the Whites, and I see a lot of Triscay in this filly.
This, of course, is a very, very difficult family to get into as well. It's not something that will appear too often, so you know, she's again got a lot of residual value.
Indeed, and Shamadal is one of the hottest sires in Europe. Very hard to get a booking to him whatsoever, and so it's excellent blood.
So that was Time Check. Our next filly is a Dundeel filly, lot 505, lot 505, a Dundeel filly out of the stakes-winning mare Magic Belle. I just love the profile on this filly, John. I think she's got a lot of athleticism about her.
She has, and Dundeel, what a great job he's done. He's had 5 Group 1 winners, one only recently with Truly Great. He may have been 6, in fact, because Victoria Key, who won the Wakeful so impressively, defeated the subsequent Oaks winner, Personal, that day. So had she run in the Oaks, she might have been his 6th Group 1 winner. And but this is a similarly lovely filly. Victoria Key was a high-priced yearling in Adelaide. Lovely moving filly, but just like this filly.
I think anyone who's bred to Dundeel or is intending on buying a Dundeel at the sales that are upcoming are still going to be well in front of the curve. There's plenty of improvement and more to come from that horse. We've got some exciting animals coming through, and I think they're only going to get more expensive, really.
Well, he's got some. He's got big numbers and some outstanding books of mares in the works, and I think you'll see that Dundeel will be a horse that's almost a gilt-edged champion sire in the next few years.
Absolutely. Our next filly is lot 556, 556, a real international flavour here. We've got a filly by Siuni out of the mare, Miss Super Quick. Could have been named after you. I understand in your earlier days you were quite an athlete, John, liked to run. They used to call you Mr. Super Quick, so this is obviously the female counterpart. But she's a very, very strong filly.
She is. She's a filly from an American mare. It's a famous Ogden Phipps family. And it's one of the more difficult families in the US stud book to get into. And we all know what a great sire Siuni is.
Champion 2-year-old sire.
Champion 2-year-old sire. He's a horse that started at a lower fee in France, and now he's worked his way up right to the top of the tree.
Really pulled himself up by his bootstraps, and you know this is quite typical of the Sunnis. They have this strength. This filly's got she's got amazing forearms on her, a really strong forearm, and she gets along well.
And if you were wondering if the Siunis had adapted out here, well, he's had 5 runners in this country, and 2 of them have made it to the Golden Slipper. That's Elmerton and See You Soon.
That's a pretty good percentage strike rate.
I'd like to think you've 40% of chance of getting to the slipper. That'd be.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'd settle for that.
So that was Miss Super Quick.
1263.
Our next filly is lot 1263, 1263, a scissor kick filly out of the mare Hussey Miss. Now the cross, this Redoutes Hussenet cross, John, it's time and time again it's provided results, hasn't it?
Well, it's probably one of the better crosses that there's ever been, Matt. It's unbelievable, and even the reverse cross of Husson over Redoutes Choice has been outstanding. But Redoutes Choice himself out of Hussenet mares is Pariah, for example, but there's any number of them. And this is a nice filly. She's out of quite a strong family. You'll see that mother's a half-sister to Run for Levi, was placed in a Caulfield Guineas. And Spark of Life, who was a brilliantly fast horse, is under the neck stamp. So there's plenty of good horses on the page. And she's a filly that'll probably represent value, but she's good size, good walk about her.
Thriving in the prep, she's absolutely glowing in her skin. She's looking very well. Lovely head on her. Our next filly this afternoon is lot 1252, 1252, and a Pariah filly out of the mare Golden Statue. Golden Statue herself is a full sister to Haylist, poor old Haylist. He would have been a champion any other year if it hadn't been for Black Caviar, but he was a very good horse himself. So this is a very good family.
Yeah, he was second to Black Caviar in 3 Group 1s, Haylist, so in an ordinary year he would have added those to his CV. Yeah. But this filly reminds me of him. In fact, she's a good sized filly, similarly marked, and it's been a very good family. Miss Siska, of course, a recent Group 2 winner out of the family, and Statue of Liberty is it's an interesting cross with Pariah. It's a double cross of that Hussenet family, so that's quite an interesting cross. We've tried on occasions to introduce a few of those inbreeding to those special mares with him in particular, and very satisfied with the results so far. This is a good filly.
The premise being that you throw back and you can reignite a line and just...
That's right. And look, historically, inbreeding to key females has been a successful... It gives you that little edge on occasion. There's been a number of champions that have bred that way.
That's Golden Statue.
Lot 360.
Our next filly is lot 360 by the all-conquering this year Written Tycoon out of the mare Grito. Wow, Written Tycoon, aren't we lucky to have stood him here this year in partnership with Woodside. He's just had a fantastic year.
He's had an amazing year. He's always been a great sire, and what we're seeing now, I think, is the culmination of a lot of the better mares that have gone to him in recent years at Woodside. But he's had an amazing season. This is a good filly. She's actually on that similar theme to the previous filly. She comes from Ridden Tycoon's family herself, so she's a big strapping filly, gets along well. We like the mare Gritto. She's her deep impact Colt, who was a high priced yearling at the Inglis Easter sales, ran second in the Group 3 National Stakes, its very first start, and owned by Spendthrift. He's now off to America to continue his racing career there.
Very great to see Microphone on the page there as well. It's a good family there through Yearling.
Oh, it's a wonderful family. It's
Wonderful
originally a Woodlands family, and now successfully managed by Godolphin.
That's Gritto. Our last of our fillies before we take a little break before moving on to the colts. The last filly we're going to show you is Lot 5, a Siuni filly out of the mare Zerkala. Well, this mare's bloodlines really are racing royalty, aren't they, John?
They are. Zakava, probably one of the greatest horses, the Aga Khan's race. She was undefeated, Horse of the Year, Arc de Triomphe winner. This filly's from that immediate family. Another Siuni filly, this time out of a Cape Cross mare. Interestingly, the very best Siuni, a filly called Lawrence, is out of a Cape Cross mare, so she's bred on that identical cross. Her mother was a winner at Dundeel, and this filly is while she's by Siuni, she looks probably like a Guineas filly to me. Got a great walk about, a big strong filly.
Plenty of scope.
As we've said, Siuni's done particularly well in this part of the world, so he's a horse that's out of a Danehill mare himself, so that blood just seems to work in Australia. Lovely walkabout to see, she's easy.
They're going to be rare commodities down here, John. Sionis, you're not going to find too many of them. I feel lucky to be able to offer them. These are couple of nice, very nice fillies they have got to offer. Well, that's it for the fillies at the moment. We're going to take a short break now. Just have a little bit of a drinks break and we'll reset, and we shall then come back and commence the colts parading. But until then, you can go and put the kettle on, make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, or perhaps a gin and tonic. Pour yourself a gin and tonic. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Thank you. Right, we're on now, Matt.
All the best.
See you again.
See you.
Bye.
See you.
Well, Matt, we've got quite a good crowd here today. Notice we've got Chris Waller and
The great and the good. We've had our gates open since about the 10th of September. I know there were some people that were quite anxious to come and see them before, but we really weren't ready to show. But since the gates are open on the 10th of September, we've been well patronised. It's been great in the current climate to be able to have people come and visit us on the farm. Obviously we're doing this today, so people who are unable, whether they've got time restraints or can't travel because of recent climate with the pandemic, but it's been great to have plenty of people on the farm, and we've been very lucky in Australia. It's been very well managed, and thankfully the racing industry's kept going, kept everyone engaged, and confidence is high going into this yearling season. I don't know how you feel about it, John, but I'm very confident. I think people are going to be there to invest.
Well, I think that judging by the interest in the parades, one would suggest that it'll be a positive sale. Magic Millions are giving us a lot of encouragement, and we've got a, as you said today, a great crowd of number of trainers, and so
The great and the good.
looking forward to it.
So on we go with the colts. First of the colts we have to show you this afternoon is lot 553, Snitzel, out of Mismatch. Now, John, you know Mismatch better than anyone. She was a very tough race mare, wasn't she?
She was a tough race mare, Matt. She was a champion in Argentina. She won the Argentine Oaks by 4 lengths. She was bought for a lot of money to race in America. We purchased her subsequently there, and she won a Group 1 for us, the Santa Margarita, beating some top-class mares that day, notably Switch. She went to the Breeders' Cup, and she actually started favourite in the Breeders' Cup, so she was a really high-class international mare. Her sister, Karina Mia, popped up in the page afterwards. She was one of the best 3-year-old fillies of the year, so this is really high-class family. This Snitzel Colt, I think he's the best foal she's had. He's a great moving horse. Look at how he walks along there, gets under
Very
himself.
loose mover. Moves all over. Now, of course, you know, the Argentinian blood, historically, they can throw almost unbeatable racehorses on occasion, but they are known for being very, very tough.
They're tough and sound horses. They've done brilliantly well in America, and they've produced some champion horses. Probably the most famous of all would be Fawley, I guess, who's in the pedigree of nearly every top page that there is.
Kanaloa, Laguna, Azzurra, 461.
Most
next-
notably Sadler's Wells.
Of course, yeah. Next colt we have this afternoon is lot 461, Lord Kanaloa colt out of the mare Laguna, Azzurra.
Again, another Lord Kanaloa colt. As we said, we sold Tagaloa. He made 300,000 at the Magic Millions, won a Blue Diamond, and was syndicated for 25 million, I believe. So this fellow's likewise out of a Heart's Cry mare, so he's bred on the identical cross to Tagaloa. First foal of his dam. It's a good family from Japan, and this is another good colt.
Lord Kanaloa is definitely on the up, and a great indication of that in his popularity is his fee's gone up to $250,000 Aussie dollars next year. So that's going to cost you quite a lot to get into him. He's already had 5 individual Group 1 winners. And of course, it's that Mr. Prospector line again.
He was a top-class sprinter, Lord Kanaloa, but he's, which we see a little bit in Japan, it's his progeny are able to get over a little bit more ground than just the 6 furlongs. Of course, Ahmed I won the Japan Cup over 1.5 miles, 2,400 metres in record time.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
So that was Laguna Azzurra. Our next colt this afternoon is a Snitzel colt, lot 772. Snitzel out of So Real.
772.
So Real, I think.
So real.
So Real. She was a stakes placed, well, group placed mare. And
Stakes winning. She won the Oaks
stakes
Prelude
winning
down
group
there at
placed,
Taranaki.
yeah.
Savabeel, what a great stallion he's been.
He certainly is flying the flag for New Zealand on the SARS front.
So real, very much of that Waikato stud family. Savabeel over a Pins mare. Consequently, this colt's inbred to Snippets. One of the foundation sires at Arrowfield. Great sire and an inaugural Magic Millions winner. Not an overly big colt, but very strong.
Racy.
And athletic.
Be big enough. That was the Snitzel colt out of the mare So Real. The next colt we have for you this afternoon is lot 427. First of our Dundeel colts to show you this afternoon out of the mare Just Divine.
Well, this is a colt that's taken a lot of buyers' eyes over the last week. Dundeel, of course, we mentioned before, he's had another stellar season. And this fellow out of a Fastnet Rock mare has got that size and scope about him.
We've got that Danehill High Chaparral cross on the page as well, John, which is responsible for some very good horses, not least of all one of ours that we bred, Super Seth. It seems to be a good cross.
Oh, it's a great cross, Matt, and of course, Danehill blood anywhere in the pedigree is successful, but it's nicked particularly well with Dundeel, High Chap, as you say, and this is a prime example. This is a good colt. He's got a very interesting autumn coming up, Dundeel, got a lot of nice horses. We've got Andy Williams and JD Hayes from Lindsay Park here today, and of course they purchased Azzurra from us, the Magic Millions, a couple of years ago. He was an unlucky second in the Geelong Classic and was to run in the VRC Derby, but had a slight virus, so he was put away for the autumn, but I know he's being set for the ATC Derby.
Let's hope that their patience pays dividends. Next colt we have for you this afternoon is lot 1169, 1169, a real impact colt out of Battle Queen. These real impacts are very strong bodied, they've got good minds, very tough. They take everything that's thrown at them in the prep, and very straightforward animals to deal with. And this mare, Battle Queen, John, there's quite a long history with her at Arrowfield, isn't there? We've got, well,
she's a sister to a horse that's quite close to her heart, Matt, Battlefield, who was a very successful horse for Paul Massara, who tragically broke a leg on the track here at Scone, and we lost. But
a phrase often thrown around, but very apt with this one. Really could have been anything, couldn't he? He was a top-class horse.
Top-class horse. Real impacts are really starting to find their feet now. A colt that we sold called Count de Rupee, a real impact colt that we sold at Magic Millions to Rob Price, is in today in the Magic Millions 3-year-old race and well fancied at Weil. So we wish them all the best of luck. He was a devastating winner at his last start, so real impacts, a little bit of time and a little bit of ground. They're really coming into their own.
Excellent. Our next colt this afternoon is 735, 735, a Snitzel colt out of a very good tough race mare called Savoia. Now, there are always horses in the prep, and I love to see it, that they come into a prep and they just blossom, jump out of the ground is the phrase that's used a lot around here, and this colt has really done that. He is just improving literally day on day. Very happy with him, and his mother, Savoia, again a Savabeel, very good racehorse, wasn't she?
She was a very good filly. She was one of those Christmas 3-year-old fillies in New Zealand that went through the main races, the Royal Stakes and the 8 Carat. Her granddam, Eva Grace, was a Avondale Cup winner. That's, you'd say, the equivalent of the Caulfield Cup in Australia. This is a really good family, and as you say, this is a colt that's just continued to improve. It's a little bit, that's a little bit typical of this mare. The 2-year-old out from last year was a very attractive filly, but she also blossomed in the prep. I think she's gone to the Hawke stable.
That was the Snitzel out of the mare Savoia. Lovely colt. Our next colt this afternoon to be shown is lot 238, 238. I love the political incorrectness of this mare's name. I'd nearly have to buy her for the mare's name alone. He's a colt by Shalar out of Double Ranger.
Yes,
now this has been a very good mare for us. She's been very good.
Yeah, she was good. Good race filly. She ran second, narrowly beaten in the rich English bonus race at Rose Hill. And Scarlet Rain was a filly that we took to the Magic Millions and sold, I think, for $100,000. She won all 3 of her 2-year-old starts leading into the Golden Slipper, including the Sweet Embrace. So she was a very good filly, and she's had a lot of talent very fast.
Of course, we've got Military Zone and Turak Toff on the page as well, so it's all high class.
This is a lengthy, good moving colt. Again, typical of those Shalars. They're very easy to pick in the paddock, the Shalars.
Loose moving.
Young horses.
You really get the feet under them, good overstep. I like that colt a lot. He's an eye catcher. So that was lot 238. Our next horse this afternoon is lot 662. A Maurice colt out of the mare Prima Claire. I actually think it's the best foal that the best yearling we've had out of this mare. She's not a very big mare. She's had nice types, but they've just lacked a bit of size, and I think this lad's certainly big enough.
That's typical of the family though, Matt. I remember Bonanova well. She was only a little filly, trained by Neville Begg and part owned by him. It's not a family of big horses, but they're certainly very talented horses. I think those three mares on the page that you can see are all Group 1 performers. And Costa de Lago has been an outstanding broodmare sire. We like mares by leading broodmare sires. It gives it's a big part of a mare's pedigree, and I agree with you. This is probably the best offspring of the mare so far.
Well, we've got the page and we've got the looks to match, so hopefully he will catch somebody's eye, but he's a very athletic individual. Gets along well.
Just walking around very casually there with Jacob Vitek, our assistant yearling manager.
That was the Maurice out of Prima Claire, our next yearling this afternoon. It's lot 69. Shalar out of Aurora Star.
69.
Plenty of talent on this horse's page, John.
It is, and it's a traditional Arrowfield family, Matt. We had Lauristina back in the 4th dam there. Miss Bustle, of course, was a runner-up in the Magic Millions. Miss Darcy, very good filly for Anthony Cummings. And this is a good colt out of this mare, Aurora Star. She's Medaglia d'Oro mare. He's a Shalar with a little bit of that scope and size that Medaglia d'Oro's renowned for.
Doesn't Mr. Newnham have the half to this, I believe? I recall reading that somewhere.
I think this one's actually with Paul Massara.
Oh, okay, I stand corrected. Very close to home, I should have known that.
Lovely rein to this horse. Considering how new they are, the yearlings are behaving themselves very well, I think, this afternoon.
Very well educated by Nigel Bentley and his team. A lot of work's put in before people come to visit these horses. A lot of practice, education. That was lot 69. Our next yearling this afternoon is lot 295. That's lot 295. A Pariah out of the mare Farsight.
Another Pariah, Matt, this time another good colt. You see him walking up here now. He's excellent use, very alert.
And it's bred on the same cross as produced Estajab. So, you know, this is again a cross that works well. And he's got plenty of substance, good outlook.
There's another outstanding Dundeel there on the page. Ain't No Deal Done, who's out of Ain't No Fallen Star. He looks like a horse that could be a Derby horse in the autumn. He missed the Derby in the springtime, the VRC Derby, but he'll be focused on that. It's a tremendous family, and what a tough mare. Ain't Seen Nothing was for Barb Joseph. hardly missed a dance, but she was always thereabouts in the good races, and she's done a marvellous job for us here at stud.
So that was lot 295. Our next on parade is lot number 855. 855, Real Trainer's horse coming up for you. Real Impact, son of Real Impact out of the mare Scissor.
Here's another Real Impact, Matt, as we've said. They're starting to find their feet now, and they're showing a good deal of promise. Had a very good winner for Leon McDonald the other day in Adelaide by a big margin. Scissor, she's a good race mare by Pivotal, who's one of the best broodmare sires in the world. And you'll see that horse on the page out of it, Tell Me Again by Scissor Kick. Very promising horse. He won 2 races impressively. He went to the listed Superimpose at Flemington. Got caught in front and had to lead, and he only got run down the shadows of the post. He's a horse that'll be winning black type race in the autumn. I'd be very confident.
This Deep Impact Pivotal Cross is already responsible for several group winners, including a horse called National Choice. It's obviously a good cross, but has only been done on limited terms, obviously, because it's difficult. It was all when he was standing at Stud Deep Impact. It was always difficult to get access to the horse. So, this is bred on the same cross, and he's got the looks and the strengths to match. So, hopefully, he'll be a runner. So that was the Real Impact out of Scissor. Staying with the Japanese theme, our next horse to show you is a Mikki Isle, 1192, 1192, Mikki Isle out of Catwoman. Always amazed how that Storm Cat still keeps coming through, doesn't it? It's that.
It does, and this colt's got a lot of Storm Cat about him, hasn't he?
He has.
He's Storm Cat's colour, he's Storm Cat's white markings.
Yeah. Very dominant.
Mikki Isle's a horse that we're quietly confident will do the job. He, like Morris, has done very well in Japan with his first crop, and he's got a very particularly good filly there that's a group winner already. She ran in the Group 1 on Saturday and was a close-up 4th after starting from barrier 18. So she'd be one of the best fillies over there. And he's already had a winner here, Mikki Isle, and we're confident that he's going to do the job for us.
I was very fortunate to spend some time in Japan and see a lot of the stallions over there. And of all of the sons of Deep Impact that I've seen, Mikki Isle is certainly the one that's closest to his father in appearance.
Well, Mikki Isle was probably one of the fastest Deep Impacts, I would suggest, and he was a front-running sprinter miler, built in that Australian physical mould. But the racing style that he employed was the type of horses that we like.
The next horse we have this afternoon is 402, lot 402, a Reduced Choice out of the mare in a Showen.
So this is the last crop of the great Reduced Choice, the legend. We're delighted to offer this colt on behalf of a good friend of the farm, Billy Slater.
He goes all right, doesn't he? He was quite good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's apparently quite good, so they say.
Yeah,
so
I heard that.
There'll be a storm of interest in this colt, I'd suggest, Matt.
Boom, boom. But he's a very well conformed colt. He's strong. He's got good body on him.
Look, it's been a wonderful cross too. He's out of an encosted Lago.
That Danehill and Costa again, isn't it?
Been amazing.
Yeah.
Probably one of the Hussey and the Costa Lago, the 2 best crosses with Reduced Choice. He's a good colt. Typical of the good Reducts. A lot of strength about him, not too big.
Good overstep. That was lot 402. Our next horse this afternoon is lot 1174. Of course, John, you'll be able to translate the dam's name of this. When you were younger and footloose and fancy free in South America, you would have heard this a lot. Basumi mucho, kiss me a lot. I understand it translates as.
Does it,
But
Matt?
this is a Pariah Colt out of the mare Basumi mucho.
Yeah, well, she's obviously another in Costa del Lago mare. She was a top-class race mare, trained by Bart Cummings. And what a great job she's done at stud. She's had 6 winners, including a number of really good horses. And this is a colt that's on the final day. Might present a little bit of value to people. Good colt, big pedigree.
Might just fly under the radar.
Proven race mare and a proven producer, so ticks a lot of boxes.
Sally Gordon this afternoon, one of the sales team, running the show very efficiently, military precision.
Yeah, full credit to the boys. It's been a difficult week. The weather's been somewhat inclement, as you
Been very tricky.
said. So
Very tricky.
getting these horses prepared and ready for the parades, it's never easy in those conditions, but they've done a great job.
So that's lot 1174. Our next offering is lot 454. This is a Snitzel colt out of the mare La Villata. Snitzel out of La Villata.
Well, if ever a horse had a stallion's pedigree, mate, you'd have to say it was this fellow by Snitzel out of the immediate family of the Great Deep Impact.
He's got the looks to match as well. He's a very active walker, well conformed, correct. He's the package.
Reminds me very much of Invader, this colt. He's got that look about him. He's that colour, same sort of size and strength to him. I think he's certainly in that mould. And of course, we know that he turned out to be, he was voted champion 2-year-old of his year. So
Strong colt, great forearm and gaskin.
we're so delighted, so lucky to have had a horse of the calibre of Snitzel. Won 4 consecutive stallion premierships. It's unheard of in the modern age.
And they seem so versatile, John.
Well, they can do anything, and they can be early and they train on. They're tough, sound horses. One of the things a lot of trainers like about them too, Matt, is that they're so genuine.
They try. And that's all we can ask of anyone. That was La Villata. Our next horse this afternoon is lot 1145. 1145, a Maurice colt out of the mare Zabelka. Again, an international page here, John, with some relevance to Hong Kong. Winners in Hong Kong, America and Australia, very international.
That's right, Matt. And out of a Zabeel mare, he's been a wonderful broodmare sire. The Morris filly of John Sargent's that's running today in the Tiara race is also out of a Zabeel mare, a filly that was bred on the farm here. So this colt bred on that same cross. One would have thought that out of a Zabeel mare they'd take a little longer, but that filly's very precocious. And this is a big, strong colt.
That was the Maurice out of the mare Zabelka. Our next horse this afternoon is lot 684. Shalar Colt out of the mare Rationality. Well, you watching at home with your catalogues in front of you, you'll see a very notable name on there, Bartley. He was a very tough horse, wasn't he, John?
Bartley was a promising horse, Matt. He was second in the Black Opal, not beaten very far, came out and was second also in the stakes race at Flemington, has now been sold off to Hong Kong for good money, I believe. The full brother to this colt was another one that got sold to China Horse Club last year with the Snowden stable, looks very promising, trialled nicely at the early trials. Understand he'll be back racing in the next couple of weeks. This is a family we've had a lot of success with, obviously, with Mentality, who is a tremendous horse for Hawke's family. And you see I'm All the Talk there on the page now, who started particularly well as a sire in Western Australia. So there's a little bit to recommend a horse of this calibre, and he's a smart colt.
The mare's been, I've noticed, she's very early on in her career, breeding career, she's been very consistent with the types, and they're all very much from a similar mould. This one slightly has a little bit more refinement, probably from Shalar, who can often tidy up things, but you know, they're very consistent, the types the mare's leaving us, and this is another good sort, plenty of strength.
Indeed. And Rationality was a good race mare herself. She had her foot on the till for black type races. So her mother, Synesthesia, has done a great job for us.
Our next horse this afternoon is lot 839. Another Pariah colt out of the mare Streep, an Animal Kingdom mare. Streep, unfortunately, didn't get to fulfill and show what she really had on the race course, but we did think she had a lot of ability, didn't we, John?
We did. She was a very attractive mare, and this is a particularly good first foal, I think. I really like this colt.
Oh, you won't see a better first foal than that. You know, it's got all the size and substance. Done a very good job.
A lot of class about him. We've got a handful of Pariah foals out of Animal Kingdom mares, and they're all attractive, so I'm wondering whether there's some sort of a nick there, but this is a good colt, and it's a fast family. And as you said, we did have an opinion of Streep, so it won't surprise me if this fellow's early. A lot of quality about this colt.
Excellent first foal. We've got a few Animal Kingdom mares on the farm, you know, John, and they're throwing good sorts. I think there could be something there.
Well, he's a beautifully bred horse. A lot of good outcross blood about him. A lot of great taproot mares in his pedigree. It's normally a recipe for a good broodmare sire.
That was the Pariah colt out of the mare Streep. Now, the next to be shown this afternoon, I always look forward to seeing every afternoon, lot 576. It's a Reduced Choice colt out of the mare Mount Zero. Lovely colt.
Beautiful colt, this. Wonderful colt.
And of course with Murra, young mare, but she's already showing that hopefully of what is the shape of things to come. Murra finishing third in the Golden Gift, wasn't it, John? It
was, Matt. Murra was an Arrowfield graduate from last year's Magic Millions, purchased by John Moynihan of Stone Street Farm. She looks a very promising filly. I know she's being set for the Magic Millions this year. I know she's well up in the betting. Really, really smart filly. This is a glorious colt. Last crop of the Reduced Choices we mentioned, but this is as good an example as you'd see. Really elegant, classy colt.
And as you say, they're not making any more of these, and you know, he's got a stallion's pedigree. Incidentally, the mare herself has got the Autumn Sun colt this year at foot, and he is absolutely stunning as well. So I'm very much looking forward to presenting him next year.
And also, Charm School out of the mare was an impressive first-up winner, and then started a short price favourite in the National Stakes in Adelaide, Group 3 race. But unfortunately, sort of took a false step that day, but she's back in work now.
Our next is a first foal of much note. He's going to catch a lot of people's eyes. Lot 795, Snitzel out of the fantastic race mare Silence Edition. Very good first foal, John.
Oh, outstanding, man. I love this colt. Always have. He's been a standout from day one. What a fantastic race mare she was. She won a William Reed Stakes.
Yeah.
I remember that day where she sat 3 wide the entire trip and still beat all the best sprinters in the land. She was a really high class filly with a tremendous turn of foot. This is a good horse's pedigree. This, when you look down the page there, you see Monte Rosso, a Dubai World Cup winner out of Puerto Rico, who was a Coolmore winner. So there's a lot of depth to this pedigree, and this is a wonderful colt.
On the day he hit the ground, throughout his development, he hasn't put a foot wrong, touch wood. He's been a very straightforward colt. As you can see, as he walks around here, he's just taking everything in. He's got a great mind on him.
And I love it when you get a mare that has a magnificent first foal. I just think that's an important factor, that when the first foal is such a good sort like that. You know,
it gives you great confidence,
choice as one.
It gives you great confidence.
Exactly.
And especially when they, it doesn't always follow that the great race mares produce really nice foals, but this mare certainly has. So that was Silence Edition, and our next is lot 777. Maurice Colt out of the mare Baccarella.
Well, Baccarella was a filly that we raced. She was very talented. Gary Moore trained her. You'll see she ran second in the Silver Shadow there. That was to Oh My Sword. And she was second in the Furious, just got caught by Fox Play. So she was a really good filly. This is her second foal. The first foal is a Morris filly that's in work with Gary Moore and has shown a lot of talent. This is a good colt, very much in the Morris mould.
It is. It looks like a Morris, doesn't it? It really does. It's he's got all the attributes of his father himself. Was it 6-time Group 1 winner, Maurice?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's no slouch. And
a few of the jockeys that rode Morris, Tommy Berry, a local, was super impressed with him. Told me he thinks he's one of the best horses he's ever ridden.
Right?
Ryan Moore, I think, is on record as saying he is the best horse he's ridden, and he's ridden some very good ones. So,
yeah, Ryan Moore would know.
Of course, Baccarella was by Beneteau, a horse that we stood here for, unfortunately, only
Shame.
2 seasons. But what a great job he did, and what a stallion he would have been.
Amazing, he left his mark in such a short period of time. So that was Baccarella. Our next colt is a Real Impact colt. Lot 896, Lot 896, a Real Impact out of Timeless Choice.
Well, here's the full brother to Count de Rupee, who we've mentioned previously, who's a really talented horse. Looks to have a big career ahead of him. I know there's been a lot of offers from Hong Kong for him, but the owners have resisted that. And this is his full brother.
This cross has already produced a stakes performer with Outburst, so it has had been tried and tested.
Well, in Timeless Choice, she's a full sister to Lankan Rupee. What a horse he was. Horse of the Year, champion sprinter. Who'll forget that TJ Smith win that day? What a devastating performance that was. This is ultimately a famous Cambridge stud family, founded by Patrick Hogan, Sir Patrick Hogan. You'll see some wonderful horses on the page there, Grosvenor, Kyrieleis and National Gallery. We love having mares with that depth of pedigree in our broodmare band, Matt.
Yeah, it's certainly, it's more often than not they'll continue to throw up and produce. Our next yearling this afternoon is Lot 797. You've already mentioned earlier, John, about Invader. This is bred on the same cross as Invader. It's a Snitzel colt out of the mare Scylla Regalis. That's Lot 797.
And fortunately, Matt, we have the leading bloodstock agent, John Foote here. John, of course, was responsible for buying Silent Witness and sending him to Hong Kong. Scylla Regalis' half-sister to Silent Witness. Big, strong colt, this. His half-brother or three-quarter brother, Creator, won the Clarendon Stakes at Hawkesbury, which will soon to become a stakes race, and then was only narrowly beaten in the Phoenix Stakes in Brisbane by subsequent multiple Group 1 winner, Shadow Hero. So a good family, some good horses there, and this is a big, strong, imposing
He is
colt.
strong, isn't he? Solid colt.
I'm certain there'll be a considerable amount of interest from Hong Kong for a horse like this with his connections.
Being a little bit stage fright there.
Just the camera's moving around a little bit, I think.
Just stirred him up a
He's
little
fraction
bit.
wary of. Well done, Jacob.
And that's the Snitzel colt out of the mare Scylla Regalis. Our next offering is lot 933, 933. Shalar colt out of the mare Villa Rossa. And we've had some very positive feedback from people who've come to the farm since we've been parading, and this lad has caught a lot of people's eye.
Yeah, she was a talented race mare, Matt Villa Rossa. We see there that she was just a winner, but she won brilliantly first start, $1.24. She was in the betting at Mornington. Went straight to the Typhoon Trace. She had no luck, was beaten under 2 lengths. She was a talented race mare, and this is a very good family, truly wicked. We can see there was a group winner and Amber Sky, Champion Griffin in Hong Kong. So there's a bit to recommend this horse, and it's a particularly good first foal, I think. Right in that Shalar mould.
Absolutely. Again, I'm sure for the viewers watching this on online, they'll start to see the pattern emerge with some of our stallions. None more so than with the Shalars. They are very much of a type.
Yeah, good tracking up the inside, fella.
Is that you racing then? You've got some money on something this afternoon, have you?
Well, the Wyong 2-year-old race is
Oh,
about
the
to
Y on
start.
2-year-old. Okay. Well, we'll have to go back to
We
that,
might
John.
have an update for the viewers.
We might have an update for the online viewers at the end of the parade. So that was the Shalar out of Villa Rossa. Our next offering, very exciting colt this. Lot 545 is a Snitzel out of Miss Dodwell. And the page tells you just about all you need to know, really. But this is a very, very nice colt.
Yes, and what a blue hen she's turning out to be for us, Miss Dodwell. Another good Snitzel colt. Miss Dodwell, done a great job. Canedna, what a filly she's been. Multiple Group 1 winners. Spill the Beans. Was a very good horse. We raced in conjunction with Aquis Farm. He stood at Aquis, and I think unfortunately he died, but what a loss he'll be because he started his career particularly well. This is his full brother.
Are there similarities to be drawn at all, John? I didn't see Spill the Beans. I mean, this is quite a big horse, a strong horse.
Spill the Beans was an attractive horse. I'd say he's a bigger horse than Canedna, but he's more in that mould than he is of Spill the Beans, to be honest. The mare had a particularly good Not a Single Doubt colt last year that's in the Gary Moore stable, and I saw a video of that. He's just gone back into work again now, so he's a horse that they've got very high hopes for.
So that's the Snitzel colt out of the great Miss Dodwell. Our next colt is lot 382, 382, a Shalar colt out of the mare Honesty Prevails, which herself was a super race mare and really demonstrates how Arrowfield get behind these stallions to support our stallions that we stand. She's a very good race mare herself.
She was a top class. We sold her as a yearling at Honesty Prevails. She was bought by Rick Worthington, a great friend of the farm, who we sadly lost this year. And he trained Honesty Prevails. What a good filly she was, blindingly fast. And I've got to say that we've taken a few nice Shalars to the sales last year, and we've got some good ones this year. But this, in my opinion, is as good a colt as certainly as good a Shalar colt as we've had, and maybe as good a colt as we've brought to the sales in a not long time.
I concur with you 100%. I think anyone who can find fault in this colt, good luck to them, because he really is a lovely individual. He has all the attributes, the way he moves, the way he's conformed, and he's got a very good head on him. Very sensible, straightforward colt.
And of course, Matt, you're responsible for doing all the foal ratings when they're just born, and I remember at the time you were very taken with this horse, and we all been taken with him from that day to this.
I didn't have to go back in and retrospectively change the grading after the performance. That's Honesty Prevails. Very nice colt. So our next is lot 1063, 1063, Real Impact colt out of Rosito. He's a very good first foal out of this mare. Rosita herself, well, she was a mare that she ran at a level, didn't she?
Look, she certainly had some ability. Paul trained her, and we took her to Randwick for a good race one day, and she got beaten, and we were slightly disappointed, but the filly that beat her turned out to be Natoya, who won a Doncaster. So Rosito had her share of ability. Her mother, Bellini Rose, was a really good filly, always running around in those best races in Melbourne, the Rose of Kingston and the Let's Alone, those races. And interestingly, you'll see there Howard Be Thy Name, owned by some friends of ours, Howard Aldridge and his family. Howard Be Thy Name was a horse that we didn't sell at the sales, a big strapping horse like this fellow, probably a fraction on the plain side, but what a good stayer he was. Won a South Australian Derby and was second in the Tasmanian Derby, and a really good staying sort of horse. And this fellow reminds me very much of Howard Be Thy Name.
That's the Rosito colt. Our next on parade is lot 603, lot 603, Snitzel colt out of Nocturnal. Brother to Dracarys.
Dracarys, yes. What a smart horse he was. Won the up-and-coming stakes, and he defeated none other than Trapeze Artist. Nocturnal was a good mare, trained by Chris Waller. Chris is here today, as we mentioned. She's by Elusive Quality. It's been a cross that's worked very well. And this is a big, strong colt, typical of what she's produced. He was a big horse, Dracarys, and this fellow's in a similar mould.
Some very astute judges of bloodstock here this afternoon, John. I wouldn't like to play poker with any of them. They're giving nothing away with the looks on their faces. They're keeping their cards very close to their chest.
Like most racing people, Matt.
That's Nocturnal. Now the next colt, I think, is a very special horse. I've loved him from the day that he arrived, and he's never disappointed at any point in his development. It's lot 25, the Duke's Choice, out of the mare Azzurra, an imported mare. Obviously imported mares have had a great history with this Danehill bloodline. And this is just a super colt, John.
You're right, Matt. He's a colt that we've bred in partnership with the Goodman family, Mount Brilliant Farm in Kentucky. They're wonderful breeders over there, and we're very fortunate they sought to send Azzurra out to us. And this is the first foal we've produced, and as you say, what a great colt he is. People mightn't know the stallion, broodmare size Scirocco, but he was a champion racehorse in Germany, won a Breeders' Cup, won a Coronation Cup, and he's starting to do well as a broodmare sire even in this country with that good filly of David Payne's Montefilia out of a Scirocco mare. This fellow's quite a special colt though. He's as good a Reduce's Choice colt as, and I think he's very much in that Benetton mould.
Right. Okay.
He was a horse that we sold as a yearling for $1 million. Outstanding racehorse, would have been a champion sire. And look at this colt. What a glorious colt. Beautiful head on him.
I just love this colt.
Great substance. Full of character.
Plenty of presence.
So a shout out to our friends at Mount Brilliant. Greg, Hutton Bow, and of course their advisor Marette Farrell. Marette does a great job for them.
Absolutely. That's our Azzurra. I could stare at him all afternoon. So our next horse is 1231, 1231, Dundeel out of the mare Jewel Star. Now there's a bit of an update on the full brother, isn't there, John?
Well, the full brother's a horse called Crocodile Dundeel that's with Lindsay Smith. He's a promising horse. He was second the other day. He's a horse that's headed towards some of the better races in the autumn, and he's got a lot of talent. Jewel Star was a filly that we raced. She ran second in the English bonus race, just beaten by a filly having her first start called Moss Fun, and subsequently won the Golden Slipper. So that was a very good. She was quite a talented filly.
For those of you at home, you may realise John is multitasking. Anyone who says he can't, he's actually narrating the parade and watching racing from Wyong. Good effort, John. We shall come to you at the end of the show with the updates. Very athletic, John.
Yeah, lengthy colt.
Isn't he?
Gets over a lot of ground when he moves. Grandmother was a Blue Diamond winner, but he appeals as a horse that would be looking for a mile.
He does look like he's got a bit of scope for that job. So our penultimate horse this afternoon,
975.
lot 975, is out of a mare that is named after a nightclub in Deauville, which John frequented quite a lot in his younger days, La Regine. And he's by Mikki Isle. I still think there's a picture of you on the wall there somewhere.
I don't think so, but I got it down. This is a. I like this colt. He's a really sharp horse. I think he's a horse that will attract attention of a lot of the pin hookers. We sold a Mikki Isle last year to Mel O'Gorman, and he was resold at the Breeze Ups for $500,000.
Wow, that's good business.
This is a good colt. He appeals as a horse that would be ideal for Breeze Ups. Strong, attractive.
I would imagine that quite a few trainers would like the look of this horse. There's plenty there to work with. He's got that strength and size. There's enough going on the page as well. His dam's a full sister to a stakes winner. And he's by Mikki Isle, who, as we've discussed earlier, we have a lot of faith in.
Yeah, we like Mikki Isle, and this is a good colt. He's always been a good colt too. It's not a super strong pedigree, so he's found his place in the catalogue by virtue of his physical. I know the Magic Millions were particularly taken by him, and he'll be a horse at the sale that people will be pleasantly surprised to see.
Last but not least, on the list this afternoon is lot 320, Snitzel Colt out of Fladae. John, you've been watching The Crown on Netflix and a keen royal watcher yourself. There's a bit of a royal connection with Fladae. Obviously on the page we've got Sweet Idea and Showtime, but Sweet Idea is getting the job done as a broodmare, isn't she?
She is. She's got a very good Galileo filly with William Haggis called Companionship, but this colt's an outstanding colt. He's obviously a full brother to Sweet Idea and to Showtime, and to a horse called Gulf of Saros, who we sold last year, a Snitzel that's in the Gay Waterhouse stable, was an impressive 2-year-old trial winner on Tuesday at Canterbury, and will no doubt make his presence felt in the 2-year-old races through the autumn. So she's done a magnificent job for Fladae, and this is arguably as good a yearling as she's put on the ground.
So much similarities and comparisons to be drawn between this fella and his brother Showtime. You know, there's both good size.
Well, Showtime was a whisker off winning a couple of Group 1s, and Sweet Idea, of course, was always thereabouts in the Group 1s, a magnificent winner of the Galaxy. And this fellow, I think he's almost a perfect blend of Showtime and Sweet Idea. He's like Showtime, but he's probably more of Sweet Idea's colour. Great colt.
Well, that concludes our parade this afternoon, and obviously those of you that have been following closely will have noticed that some of the lots weren't have been shown this afternoon. They'll be withdrawn.
Yep. Yes, Matt, there's 5 horses that we didn't show today that were withdrawn. You might quickly run through those.
6 actually, lot 141, lot 403, lot 904, lot 1222, lot 19 and lot 637. Now, those horses will appear at some point and be offered, but unfortunately it won't be at the Magic Million sale. So just to finish again, thank you very much for all of you that have stuck with us this afternoon through the parade. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been our pleasure to host this, and on behalf of Arrowfield and the Massara family, I would like to thank everyone out there for their continuing support of Arrowfield. We wish you every success. John and I wish you every success this upcoming sale season. We hope it goes well for you. I'd just also like to take this brief opportunity just to congratulate Nigel Bentley, who prepares all these horses with his assistants, Jacob Vitek, Jenna Bombardieri and the whole team. Done a fantastic job this afternoon preparing these horses, so well done to them. And of course, all of the team on the farm who have helped develop and raise these horses from the time they were born. As those of you who are watching who breed horses will know, it's a long time between drinks and a lot of hard yards have to be done. But again, thank you for all of your interest, and have a great Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you in January if you're able to get to the sales, John.
Great, Matt, thank you, and Merry Christmas to everybody.